Welcome back to the video. In today's video is all about how to make a worship gospel beat from scratch in FL Studio. Now this one will be a bit emotional, at the same time cinematic. Alright, so guys, let's dive in and get started. Welcome back to the video. I'm just gonna start with this chord. First off, let's go to we want to locate the guitars from the list. I use this one, so I'm just going to enable this one right now. This one. Let's take a listen. Literally, that is the first process. All right, our first step. All right. Next on the list is to add this one, this guy. All right. I'm just going to solo it. Let's take a listen. Awesome. Stay with me. Very simple and gentle. Awesome. All right. So guys, that's that. Now, before we proceed, let me quickly show you guys the instruments that I use for this first one. All right. So the instrument for this one is this guy, guitar, very powerful plugin. So guys, you can try as much as possible to get one of those. All right. And that's that. Try as much as possible to get any of this plugin. So guys, let's get into it. Next off, which is this guy, is still the same plugin. All right, I just clone it. In other words, to clone, right click, clone, and that's it. So it's going to duplicate the plugin for you. All right, so that's what I did literally, and I have a reasons for that. All right, so I don't need this one. Let me just delete it. So the instrument that I use for this one is the same plugin, ample bass guitar, which I've showed you guys earlier. All right, so let's get into it. Now the next one right now, I'm just gonna mute this one. Now next on the list is this guy, which is still the same thing. All right, but the tone is different. Okay, so let me just open it, make sure this one is selected. Let's solo it. All right, let's take a listen. One more time. Awesome. Now you realize that the tone of this one is quite different from this one. All right. Let me enable this one again so they can take a listen. Let's solo it again. You can see the texture is quite different. All right, now I'm going to share with you how I achieve that. Also, you can see the texture is a little bit different from the first one, the second one rather. So I'm going to share with you later how you can achieve that. All right, okay, let me just go straight forward and just share with you before I forget. Now, for you to achieve that, make sure the plugin is enabled. For instance, this one. Make sure this icon is checked to this one. By default, it's going to be like this. So you want to click it once. It will bring this logo. All right. Click it again. Once you see this sign, then you can have that tone and that texture. All right. So the texture and the tone of this guitar is going to change. All right. And that's that. All right. So the texture is going to change to that of the one you just heard right now. Let's get into it. Let's proceed. So that's that. So literally what I did is this one, these two guy, then I would now duplicate it here. All right, which is very simple. To duplicate, all you need to do is, let's say, this one is the same thing as this one, is the same thing as this one. All right, so highlight it, Control B on your keyboard, it will duplicate for you. Control B, it will duplicate for you. All right, but I don't need this one. I'm just going to delete it. Okay, let's proceed. Stay with me. I'm sure you will learn some new tips and tricks as well. All right, I'm going to be sharing some new tips. All right, stay with me. Next off, let's add this guy. All right, this one. So I'm just going to open it. All right, we're just going to solo it. Okay, and then let's take a listen. Now, very simple and gentle. Okay, now by the time you enable 3 of them, literally this is what I just did. All right, this one is opened, this one is enabled, this one is enabled. That's 3 of them. This one, and this one. Awesome. So guys, let's take a listen. Literally, that's it. Okay, very straightforward and simple. All right, let's get into it. Next off, let's add this one. Stay with me. All right, at the end of this video, I'm going to play the entire vibe so that you can feel it and listen to it. All right, so let's get into it. Next is this guy, which is this one. I'm just going to solo it as we take a listen. All right, double click. Very simple. What I literally do, or what I did, is just to play the basic chord of that key. Okay, and of course I'm playing on B flat. Okay, so what I did is just to play the first before we get into the music, just few seconds in the beginning, just to play that basic chord. All right, so that's that. And then from there, I've talked about this. Let's talk about this one. So the instrument that I used for this one is this one. Let me just open it. I used expand. All right, expand. But before we get into that, let me just enable it. Okay, let's take a listen. All right, one more time. Awesome. Awesome. Literally, it's very straightforward, and that's that. Next off, of course, the instrument is this one, which I've showed you guys. This is the instrument, and from the list, you want to come to this icon, strings, which is this one. All right, then I pick strings, then I use legato strings. All right, of course we have a lot of it here because of our time. I think I use this one. Pick any one of a choice. All right, then a lot of presets in the list. So guys, having said that, let's move to the next one, which is this guy. Stay with me. Let's take a listen. So I'm just going to solo it. Of course, you can see the preview. All right, once you click on it, you can see the instrument that you used. All right, or that I used. Okay, so this is the preview, which is, of course, I'm just going to solo it so that you guys can hear the vibe. Very straightforward. Now, what I have here what I have in this one is the same thing as what I have in this one. Now the idea is, if you look at it, I added a strings just to have that atmospheric vibe. Then at the same time, I support it with a pad, all right, just to balance it. Okay, so that is literally what I did in that aspect. Two of them, you should hear something like this. we have the strings, we have the pad. So let me enable the strings. Let's take a listen. All right, now this is the pad. Okay, let me just zoom it. You can see that this is just from the beginning. All right, you can just see control, Alt T on your keyboard. All right, and just say intro. Okay, this is another tips, just to organize your workflow. Okay, you know where the song ends, you know where the song starts. Okay, so that's that. So the instrument for this one is Nexus, and then from the list we have the single layer pads, and from the, of course, if you've been following my tutorial, you realize that I love to use this one for the sake of tutorial purposes, and most importantly for beginner. All right, so it's a very powerful plugin. Try as much as possible to get one of it. Okay, now let's get into it. So guys, having said that, let's proceed. Now we move to this one. All right, so which is this one. As you can see it, now the instrument for this one is expand, which I've shared with you guys earlier. All right, strings, and of course, you go to your strings, and then you want to pick this one. Of course, you can pick any of your choice. So that's that. I haven't said that. And then what we have in this one, let me just play it. Is literally the same thing with what we have in this one, which I've shared with you guys earlier. And how do I go about that? Is simply copying what we have in this one and duplicate in this one. And how do I go about it? All you need to do, let's say I'm on this one, you can see the preview, right click on it and copy. All right, then you can pick a pattern. All right, but make sure you see when you scroll this one, it goes to pattern 12. When I scroll it down, you can see where we stopped, which is solo violin. But when I go hard one, which is plus, I can either hard it from this point or from this guy. You can click this one or click this one. But I'm just going to use my mouse scroll wheel to just scroll it a little bit. It will have another pattern, which of course I can give it a name. All right, and then I can put it here if I want. I can put a pattern here. So make sure then I go to this one. So right click again. All right, let's copy it, just what you did earlier. Let's assume you've not copied before. All right, so make sure you copy, and then on this one, remember we are still on the instrument. You can see this icon is still enabled. Is to tell us that I'm still on the VST. Okay, so what I want to do right now is to right click again and paste it. So if I should play this one right now, you realize that it's duplicate. So literally that's just it. I'm just going to delete this one. We don't need it. So that is the idea. All right, what we have here, I copy it and duplicate on this one, and what we have in this one, I copy it and duplicate on this one. All right, so let's get into it. Next on the list is this guy. Let's take a listen. So I'm just gonna go to audio, which is this one. I'm just gonna solo it. Let's take a listen. Very simple and straightforward. Okay, next off we have this one. This one I'm just gonna solo it again, and then let's take a listen. Make sure pattern is checked. All right, let's get into it. Okay, actually what you're hearing right now is pan to the right. You can see it by default. It should be like this. Let me play it again. All right, so I prefer to put it in this point, and of course you can see I added something on it, EQ, and just right click, go to mastering, and I use this one, radio. All right, so it's going to add this effect to it. Okay, but by default it should be like this. all right, but I prefer make sure you pan it to the right. You can do whatever you like, both, and that's that. So let's take a listen again. Let's take a listen. So literally that's that. Let's proceed. This guy, this one, I'm just going to solo it, which is of course this one, and then let's take a listen. So literally just to complement to what we have in the list, okay, just to make sure that everything is balanced. Of course, I'm going to play the entire vibe so that you can take a listen and enjoy it, all right, and feel the vibe, all right. So next on the list is this one, which is our bass. So let me just open it as we take a listen. Literally, this one has been created via my other laptop, all right, my second device, just to make my workflow more very straightforward and more efficient, all right. So I had to, create this one on my second laptop, render it, and then import it to this laptop so that I can share with you, and to try as much as possible not to prolong this tutorial, all right. So let's get into that. And then we have the drum. Having said that, we move to the next one, which is this guy. I think I did the same thing as well to the drum, okay. And let's take a listen. So that's that. And before I proceed, before I play the entire vibe, now there's one thing I want to share with you, a tip, all right, that can help your workflow, all right. Now, for instance, I'm going to play the entire video, the entire beat for you to take a listen. But before we go into that, now, sometimes when you're working on your work page, all right, and you realized, perhaps you're working on a BPM and you change your mind later, but maybe you are done with the entire beat. Then maybe later you now change your mind. Maybe you want to go for slow tempo or fast tempo. You realize that everything just scatter. You have to now begin to rearrange. I don't know, maybe that has happened to you before. I'm sure that has happened to me, and I'm sure that may as well might have happened to you as well. And maybe perhaps you're recording a vocal, and then you realize that by the time you are done recording, you are not actually recording on the tempo that you desire, and perhaps you want to change the tempo, and you realize that the vocal just shifts a little bit, and it will cost you extra time to now rearrange the entire vocal. Now I've got a solution for that. It is very simple, actually. Make sure that when you are done with your project, you are done with your production, you want to go to this icon, which is tools, all right. Under tools, go to micros, and then you want to locate this icon that says switch all audio clips to, so you can pick any of this one, which is real-time stretching, all right. So in so doing, it will bring this icon and say confirm. That way, if I change the tempo to any tempo, it will automatically align without having to rearrange again. That is one tip, all right. Stay with me. I will share another tip at the end of the video, all right. At the end of this video, I will share another tip, all right. Stay with me. So that way you don't have to rearrange your vocal, everything will now sync and align. All right, before, I'm quite sure you have to double click, you have to come here, go to Stretch Pro or Stretch, all those things. That's what you normally do before. That you have to do the entire beat and stretch it so that whenever you want to use it, it will align to tempo. But this one, you don't have to do that anymore. Just apply the method that I just explained right now, and before you know it, your workflow take another dimension. All right, so let's get into it. So now what I'm going to do right now is to play the entire beat. All right, so let's take a listen. Let's feel the vibe. Awesome. Now I'm going to play it again. Take a listen. Awesome. Very simple and straightforward. All right, very simple and straightforward. Now you realize that this one is panned to the left. I pan it to the left. All right, I pan it to the left. So, and of course this one I pan it to the right, which is very straightforward, which I've showed you guys. All right, so literally that is it. That's that. Now another thing is that you want to do. Let me just delete this one. Nothing is here. Now another thing is another tip. Now let me just say, for instance, from here to here is where the lead starts to sing. All I have to do is Alt T on the keyboard and say lead. All right, and then maybe from here, for instance, Alt T, it's going to bring this marker, and then you want to say choir, for instance. So maybe this is where the song ends. Literally, that's what I did here. That's what I did here. So it makes your workflow very simple. So that, for instance, you want to record here, just double click here. It will loop this place for you so that you can record something. Maybe here as well, you want to do the same thing in this aspect. Just loop it. Very straightforward. All right. Maybe here you just want to do something. Just loop it. Very straightforward. And then maybe when you know where to start singing, you know where to stop, you know where the choir, it makes your workflow more efficient and very simple to locate, where you stopped. Because sometimes when you're working on a project, maybe a vocal and instrumental, you are done with everything. Maybe you abandon it after 2 days or a week, you come back. Sometimes it may even take you some time to find out where the lead ends. Of course, you will know, but it will take you some time to identify where the backup comes in, where the lead ends. Of course, if you're a vocalist, you understand what I'm talking about. All right. So, doing it this way, you just know that, this is where the lead stops. This way, okay. So you just come here, just, yeah, backup. This is where you to start yours. You quickly know that this is where backup will pick. All right. And you know that this is where the lead, of course, this is just a sample. And this is a tip. All right. I'm sure you understand, and I hope you get the concept. Another tip I would like to share with you. Let me just show you guys how this thing has been done. All right. Now, let's say, for instance, I want to play something right now. All I need to do is make sure that you're on the instrument, which is this guy. All right. Make sure it's checked. And then you want to come to this icon, this plus sign, and just give it a name, maybe piano or anything of your choice. All right. You can just put it here if you like. It doesn't matter. Once you're done, you can still bring it from here to this point. But I'm just going to leave it, and then I can just strike my key on the keyboard. All right. It's connected. Let's say, for instance, your keyboard is not connected to your FL Studio. All you need to do is, let's say, for instance, your keyboard is not connected. All you need to do is just come to this icon, go to audio settings, and then make sure you go to MIDI. All right. Make sure this guy is enabled. For instance, if I disable it, I'm playing something right now, but you can't hear it. But when you enable it, and then you can hear it. So make sure this one is checked. And then having said that, then you now want to say this guy, click it, and then get set. Make sure this one is selected. So guys, literally that's how you do all this. This very simple. That's how you do all these things. I'm just going to open it right now. Let's take a listen. What we play right now. So guys, literally that's how you do all these things. At the same time, you can click it if you prefer to click, but I love to play it, that way it makes my workflow more efficient and more faster than that of clicking it. All right. So literally, that's how you do it. And then you want to highlight all of them, random color, and boom. And then you want to give it an icon, piano. All right. And then give it a color. As you can see it, what I just did right now is what I do in all these parts. Very simple. All right. And I hope that this video is helpful, and I hope that you love it. And until the next one, stay creative, consider subscribing, and until the next one, see you in the next video. Peace out.